People sometimes ask when I'm drawn to do, shooting in cold and windy and snowy environments, and I guess it's I have a hard time putting an answer to that. I guess like anyone who who plays or works in these areas, the mountains have been the currency of my life and the source of so much joy. This is perfect stuff, shooting through these trees. With Steve, you moving through this wild alpine land here. From a photography perspective, I think it's just a really amazing challenge to work with a very light kit. I mean, we have about as light a photography or cinematography kit as you can get here, and that's the same principles that apply to mountaineering. I mean, you can't put too much gear in your pack or you don't make the summit. So the storm's just starting to come in. We've got some really good snowflakes happening. It's going to bring great texture. The wind is picking up, and it's going to just really make a great alpine feel. My first assistant, Draper White, and he and I are running with the 1DX cameras and covering different angles today. This is my kit. Everything fits right in here. We'll get them up on the ice and shoot a whole section of the film with maybe 4 lenses and 1 camera body. Pretty excited about it. What we're going to do here is have a remote audio setup, so Matt Van Biene can come up and run field audio. Down to Ben, who's working with the Edirol field audio recorder, and he's running the levels and making sure that everything's right. We have a Sennheiser MK416 shotgun mic with a little wind muff, and that helps reduce some of the wind noise. We're using a remote transmitter, Sennheiser SKP2000. So the nice thing is we're free of cords, so we can be working up on the ice, anchored in, so it's a cool process, and Ben can be doing it here from the ground. I think it would actually be nice to be cutting left to right. It just creates more tension that way. So let's just play right. Yeah.
One thing you'll notice about this film is that Steve is climbing without a rope in it. And in actuality, he was on a safety line for virtually all of the climb. He was wearing a harness underneath his clothes. It allowed me to shoot ice climbing and to shoot Steve from, let's just say, 12 different perspectives on the same 10 or 20 foot section of ice. And that allowed us to be really creative and do things artistically that just aren't often done, in ice climbing films that way. So it allowed me to go in with a 100mm macro right in Steve's eyes on the route, and then also to work with a 14mm lens pulled back and show a huge sweep of ice. And then I could swing out of the way, and Draper, who's up the slope, 200 or 300 yards away, he could be shooting with, a 45mm tilt shift lens and get a big sweeping panoramic from the sides.
I'm gonna swing over to your left when you're ready.
First, are you having fun?
Something like it, I guess.
And I wanted very much to bring the viewer close from the ice climber's perspective, right against the ice itself.
See, it's been taking a total beating today. More or less everything else has, fallen apart in some way, but the camera's been holding up incredibly well. And it's amazing. Until you do something at a certain level, you never know what it's like. How was that, Draper?
That was great. I got some good stuff.
I think we had perfect weather conditions for it.
Yeah, it's a little less snowy than it was before, obviously, but it actually helps me out. I can see a lot more.
I think we got what we need here, so feel free to wrap from your position.
I wanted this film and the visuals to be 3 things. I wanted them to be spare, bold, and ethereal.
Draper and I are going to be playing with the tilt shift lenses as well. Really excited about that. He's going to be running a 24 tilt shift. I'll be working with a 45mm tilt shift as Steve is making the approach. And what that really does is allow us to drop everything out in the plane of focus, like the ice climb and stuff above is going to be out of focus. We'll have a horizontal plane of focus just on Steve, and it just makes it look a little bit otherworldly. It looks very different, and Steve becomes very much in his own world. Well, Draper and I just got some great footage, and we had Cedar, our RC helicopter pilot, flying. He got the ship in the air, had the 1DX on it for 1 flight for about maybe a minute, and then there were some technical difficulties. And it crashed into a tree at about 30 feet up, plummeted to the ground with the camera on it. It's a good thing it's a sturdy camera, I guess.
I was thrilled that we were able to use the 1DX camera. In my mind, it's one of the ultimate cameras out there in the sense that it's built like a tank. It has incredible low light performance. I'm not even at a high ISO.
Yeah.
This sensor is unbelievable. I'm shooting at ISO 10,000 and I'm seeing more through the LCD screen than I can see with my own eye here.
What is that, Tyler?
That would be a WRAP wrap. Woo!
Sweet.